Hello everyone and welcome to our weekly wrap-up of news stories that made the headlines. I'm Nicole Cordoves and this is the MB Rundown. The Public Attorney's Office, or the PAO, on Monday said the post-mortem of the body of former University of the Philippines student Carl Angelo Arnaiz showed he was tortured and shot 5 times in the body that led to his death. 2 rookie policemen chasing a taxi robber gunned down the 19-year-old Arnaiz after he allegedly resisted arrest early Friday in Barangay 28, Caloocan City. According to PAO, Arnaiz sustained 5 gunshot wounds, 4 in the chest and 1 in the right arm, and his wrists were swollen with handcuff marks. Based on the spot report of the Caloocan police, Arnaiz drew a gun and fired at the policemen chasing him. Police claim that they seized 2 plastic sachets of marijuana leaves and 3 sachets containing shabu. But the PAO and Senator Juan Edgardo Angara likened the incident to the case of Kian de los Santos, who was killed by policemen during an anti-illegal drugs operation in Barangay 160 in Caloocan City last August 16. This was 2 days after Arnaiz's death. Police claim that Kian was a drug runner who was killed after he allegedly resisted arrest. But Barangay 160 officials said Kian was not in their drug watch list. Philippine National Police Chief General Ronald de la Rosa appealed to the public not to compare the 2 cases despite the involvement of Caloocan City policemen in both incidents. De la Rosa said that the case of Arnaiz is not an illegal drugs-related operation initiated by the police like that of De Los Santos, who was allegedly mistaken for a drug courier. But the PAO forensic team, led by Dr. Erwin Erfe, learned that the trajectory of the bullets were downward. The same with Kian. Based on the autopsy, he was already sprawled on the ground when he was killed. The 2 cops involved in the death of the 19-year-old former UP student were relieved from their posts Monday morning to pave the way for an impartial probe on the death of Arnaiz. In a related news, the 14-year-old boy who was last seen with Carl Angelo Arnaiz was found dead Wednesday in Gapan City, Nueva Ecija. The body of Rinaldo de Guzman bore 30 stab wounds and was positively identified by his father Ricardo at a morgue in Barangay San Roque in Gapan City. The boy's head was also wrapped in packaging tape. It was gathered that the body was first seen in a river in Kinabayuhan on Tuesday and was brought to the local morgue. De Guzman was seen leaving the family residence in Cainta, Rizal with Arnaiz last August 17 to get midnight snacks. And in a statement made last Wednesday, President Duterte promised that if evidence warrants, he will pursue the filing of cases against police officers who were found to be involved in the killings of Arnaiz and De Guzman. The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or the AFP, has teamed up with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or the MILF, as it looks to eject a breakaway gang of radical militants pledging loyalty to the Islamic State group. As artillery shells and rockets pounded targets nearby, soldiers were seen mingling freely with several hundred MILF fighters who have joined the assaults on the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, or the BIFF, in the restive southern island of Mindanao. The BIFF is a breakaway group of the MILF. At least 10 BIFF gunmen were reportedly killed in the series of airstrikes launched by the AFP Joint Task Force Central in Maguindanao last Sunday. Troops from the Army's 57th Infantry Battalion, reinforced by fighters from the Bangsamoro Islamic Armed Forces MILF, or the BIAF-MILF, engaged the Daesh-inspired BIFF gunmen in Barangay T, Datu Salibo, Maguindanao last September 3. 2 BIAF-MILF members were also killed in the clashes. The joint operation is the latest tactic by the Philippine government to try to stamp out pro-Islamic State fighters. After months of battling a separate faction of militants who have besieged the city of Marawi, about 100 kilometers to the north. Major General Arnel de la Vega said that the militant groups have taken the opportunity to build up their forces while government troops were engaged in the Marawi conflict. He added that the alliance with the MILF included providing indirect fire support and even air support and other expertise. AFP Western Mindanao Command Chief Lieutenant General Carlito G. Galvez Jr. said that combat operations are necessary measures taken by the MILF members members against terror groups operating in Maguindanao. The Commission on Appointments on Wednesday voted to reject Rafael Mariano's appointment as Secretary of the Department of Agrarian Reform, or the DAR. Mariano is the fourth Duterte appointee to be rejected by the powerful body. The 25-member CA made the decision not to confirm Mariano's ad interim appointment after an executive session at the Senate. In the plenary session of the bicameral appointments body, Committee on Agrarian Reform Chairman Senator Vicente Soto III delivered what he said with a heavy heart the decision to reject Mariano's confirmation. He said there were a minimum of 13 members of the CA who voted no to Mariano's appointment as DAR Secretary. Despite his rejection, Mariano sat in the Senate plenary hall to hear the CA's decision. His supporters, all clad in red, were emotional in lambasting the CA. In a press briefing, Mariano said the CA's decision indicated that the interests of big landlords, oligarchs, and private corporations prevailed over the interests of farmers and Filipinos. Malacanang expressed regret over the CA's rejection of Mariano, which came only less than a month after Duterte's third cabinet appointee, Judy Taguiwalo's appointment as Social Welfare Secretary was also rejected by the CA. North Korea's recent nuclear test triggered landslides in the detonation area and beyond, but left no crater visible from a collapse based on satellite photos. Japan on Wednesday again upgraded its estimated size of North Korea's latest nuclear test to a yield of around 160 kilotons, which is more than 10 times the size of the Hiroshima bomb. This marked Tokyo's second revision higher after previously giving estimates of 70 and 120 kilotons. Defense Minister Itsunori Onodera told the reporters that his ministry's upward revision to 160 kilotons was based on a revised magnitude by the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, or the CTBTO. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is expected to press Russian President Vladimir Putin for his support over the North Korea's provocation when the two leaders hold talks in the Russian Far East city of Vladivostok on Thursday. The underground blast on Sunday caused a 6.3 magnitude earthquake, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, and was followed a few minutes later by another with a magnitude of 4.1, leading to suggestions that the rock over the site had caved in, potentially releasing radioactive material into the atmosphere. Pyongyang said the test was of an H-bomb that could be fitted into a missile, heightening tensions over its weapons ambitions and prompting global condemnation. North Korea's ambassador to the United Nations, Han Tae-song, said that the recent self-defense measures by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea are a gift package addressed to none other than the U.S. He also added that the U.S. will receive more gift packages as long as it relies on reckless provocations and futile attempts to put pressure on North Korea. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned against using confrontational rhetoric over North Korea and said big powers must come up with a single strategy to address the crisis. The UN chief also called on the Security Council to show unity and agree on steps forward. The United States, on the other hand, has warned that it could launch a massive military response to threats from North Korea. And now for some good news. Recognizing the power of ICT in providing meaningful 21st century learning, Globe Telecom came up with the Global Filipino School Program, or the GFS, back in 2012 that provides free internet connectivity to select public schools, teacher training on tech integration in the classroom, and 21st century learning techniques. Schools also receive a Globe Digital Learning Lab, which is composed of netbooks, tablets, projectors, prepaid super sticks, and a mobile cart which serves as both a charging station and safe storage for the ICT equipment support. And just last August 29, Masambong High School became the first public school in Quezon City to be part of the GFS program of Globe Telecom. The ceremonial turnover was led by Mayor Herbert Bautista and Representative Vincent Bingbong Crisologo. According to Mayor Bautista, it has been a dream for every public school teacher and student in Quezon City to be able to increase their learning capacity through the modern tools of information technology. Bautista also said that the goal of the local government of Quezon City is to become a smart city, meaning all basic operations of the city will be managed efficiently through computers. Besides the ICT needs of Masambong High School, Globe also partnered with Habitat for Humanity to create a multifunctional ICT laboratory with a collaborative working space called the Creative Space. And this same space is used by the DepEd to train the teachers of Masambong High School on how to use the ICT tools.
Very thankful to Globe. We're very grateful and we thank the Lord for that because Globe has been used to improve the teaching learning of our students.
In terms of program impact, it was found that students get more engaged under the GFS program driven by the 21st Century Learning Framework.
Our partnership with DepEd includes creating one GFS school in every DepEd division in the country. So if we have one GFS school for every division, we are able to create a learning or teacher training hub that can be utilized by DepEd to train neighboring schools on how to use tech in the classroom.
With this initiative of Globe to populate the country with the centers of ICT excellence that will better equip students and teachers for 21st century learning, we see a brighter future for the Filipino youth. 12 students from Ballet Manila took center stage at the 2017 Grand Prix International Ballet Competition in Hong Kong. It was a week to remember for Ballet Manila as this was the 5th time the prestigious ballet company got to compete in the 2017 Asian Grand Prix International Ballet Competition, or the AGP, with the hope of receiving scholarships to train in world-renowned ballet schools. Held at the Hong Kong Academy for Performing Arts in Wan Chai, the students joined over 340 participants from different countries. Over the course of the competition, a panel of judges comprised of directors and faculty members of prestigious ballet schools selected the finalists who would receive honors, cash rewards, and scholarships. In the end, 2 of Ballet Manila's outstanding dancers were given recognitions for their performances, one of whom was also awarded scholarships to 2 schools. Brian Ramos Sevilla emerged victorious after getting the silver medal in the Junior B category. He was also awarded with 2 scholarships, a short-time stay at the Houston Ballet Academy in Texas, and a summer school scholarship at Elmhurst Ballet School in the United Kingdom. From the senior category, Joshua Ray and Ciso was given the Sansha Award, placing 5th in his category. And that's it for this week's edition of the MB Rundown. But before we go, here is a thought to ponder on this week. We always say that the children are our future, but what kind of future do we intend for the next generation to have? Let us decide on that today. And that wraps up this week's MB Rundown. I'm Nicole Cordobes and have a great weekend.